Okay.
So we had Nicky and we had Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I spoke about buying a motorbike for Andrew.
No.
When he must have been 11 or 12.
Right.
Bought a motorbike, but I bought it for me to go to work on.
Right.
I bought a trials bike off a lad at work, and I was teaching him to ride a motorbike on the sands at North Scale.
Right. Okay.
And we used to go out on the bike because we had friends at Canny Hill.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got one of the books that Raymond Williams, called Maureen and Ray Williams, who worked in the shipyard. Maureen worked for the armaments director, and Raymond worked in the office.
Yeah.
And when I used to go down Craven House, they were based in Craven House, and got to know Maureen, the director, through the suggestion scheme.
Yeah.
And she found out that I'd been an electrician, so they had me running up there and doing jobs for them of a weekend. So, like I mentioned previously, I used to go around and do jobs.
You foreigners, yeah.
Yeah, so got very friendly with them.
Yeah.
And she used to invite me up of a weekend, so I used to go up on the motorbike with Andrew.
Oh, right.
Take him up there. They had a big dog, a big German Shepherd called Rainer. It was Raymond and sort of Maureen.
Yeah,
somehow rolled into one.
I heard about this dog, and that's the picture that was always on the side at
Nan's
house. Yeah.
It's an oil painting. It was painting by numbers, actually.
Right.
And Andrew started it and I finished it.
Yeah.
So it's under Andrew's name. But anyway, we used to go up there on the motorbike. Then we used to go off of a weekend. We used to go off in the car, like I mentioned previously, on a Sunday. That was a Sunday. Go to church, and then off.
Is that with all when you had all three kids?
Well, we used to do it with two, with one, with two, with all three.
Yeah.
Trying to get into the car with all that lot, because your granddad, your great-granddad, your great-great-granddad, he had a car, but your granddad didn't have a car.
Right. Your great-granddad.
Your great-granddad didn't have a car.
Yeah.
He bought mine off me when me and your mum got married.
Right.
He bought the Austin off me. I had an Austin. So we used to, like I said, we used to go off. But I always remember one time we all used to go off in the car, all the family. We had, we had Kate then, because Kate was the third one, the last one.
Yeah. So
it was 69, 66, 63.
63, yeah.
So your mum was 63,
Right.
Kate was 66, and Andrew was 69. So we used to go up to Coniston all over.
Yeah.
So we used to go on the east side of Coniston, not on the west side.
Yeah.
Because it was quieter on the east side.
We were just talking about that with Nana before, Tilberthwaite Gill.
With what?
She used to go to Tilberthwaite Gill and used to go to the east side of
that's
Coniston.
north of Coniston.
Yeah.
On the outside of Coniston.
Yeah.
We used to go up there, the slate quarries.
Yeah.
Because there's a great big hole there, big slate mine. Anyway, we used to go up and come down the other side. There was a place there we used to park by the side of the road.
Yeah.
You know, just pulling off the side of the road. And it was low-lying and it was level with the lake so the kids could go paddling.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah.
Then we went there one year and it had a big sign up and it had parking a shilling. So we didn't park there after that. We wouldn't park. We went further down to get somewhere parking. Because in the old days, a shilling was a shilling.
Yeah.
You know, 12 pence, it'd be 5 new pence now.
Yeah.
Now it'd be about £5.
Right. Put it on.
Yeah, so I always remember that. And I think I told you about going to Filey, didn't I?
Yeah.
And about Andrew with his trilby.
Yeah.
He went up to Scotland. I think did I mention that? Up to Scotland, the foot of
to
Ben Nevis.
Glencoe and Fort William
we
and all that.
went through Glencoe.
Yeah, go on like that.
Short intermission. It's the dog again. She's a pain. She keeps wanting to go out.
You talked a little bit about Scotland and some of the holidays.
And about going fishing with Andrew on the river. Did I tell you about that?
I don't think so. You talked a bit about fishing, but
used to go fishing. I bought a fishing rod in Fort William for him. We went fishing on the river. Where are we going to fish? I said, we'll go on the river. So fishing away, and the bailiff come and he said, have you got a licence? He said, no, we don't need one. Oh, yes. But see that fence there? If you go on the other side, you don't need one, because that's the seaward side. So anyway, so we got caught doing that. And then we went up to, not Aberdeen, near Aberdeen, whatever they call the Granite City. We had a trip up there, and we tried to get to Mallaig, but I don't think we ever got there. That's up on the coast. I'm trying to think. We went to we went to Gloucester, and there's, I don't know whether it's still there. It's pronounced Prinage, but it's Prink Nash. That's how it's spelled. Yeah. But they pronounce it Prinage Abbey, where they used to make pots and pottery and all that. And Andrew's name's in the Book of Remembrance there. Right. Because you had a big book of remembrance in the Abbey, and you could put your names in for remembrance. So when Andrew died, I got in touch, and his name's in there. That's if it's still there, you know, the Abbey. So we went there. I'm trying to think, because we went all over. We went up to Scotland. Yeah. To she was classed as Annie. Yeah, I've heard. She lived at Bell's Hill. Yeah. Glasgow. Not Glasgow. Bell's Hill, outside Glasgow. Yeah. Yeah. And one of her relations ran Wessos. That's a big manufacturing company in Scotland. They used to do the units for the subs. Right. Oh, right. You know, they used to send the units down, and they used to do the rings. Yeah. They used to come down. Right. Wessos. Yeah. And that have we not got a press from them? Is that one of the one of the presses not from them? For the player. Shut that door. One of the what? One of the presses. Is one of those presses not from Wesson? In the presses, sorry, in the yard, in the assembly shop for the steelwork. Oh, for doing your units. Yeah. Well, I worked on that. Did you? The German rolls. Yeah. That's the big rolls. Yeah. Used to be down the west shop. Yeah. And used to roll the pressure hulls. Yeah. It's still the same ones, that you worked on, Yeah, because that's the one I bust. Right. I don't know if I told you about that. No. Well, I mentioned previously when I was working in the yard as an electrician, I used to look after the German rolls. Right. I told you I had a lot of things. But German rolls was one of them. And it came from Germany, obviously, and it had just been installed. They had somebody install it, but I took over the maintenance of it. Yeah. So when I was doing plant maintenance, one time, you had to test things, the limits and all that, to see if it worked. because that was part of the plant maintenance.
Yeah.
So I decided I'd test, because it was 3 rolls like that. Or was it the other way? No, I've forgotten now. No, it was that way, I'm sure. Roll there, roll there, and roll there. And that used to come down, and these used to roll round to, form the ring. So I decided I'd go and test it one night, because it had the plant maintenance on. So I thought I'd test the low limits where they used to come down. And sink under the ground.
Yeah.
Great big rolls were
about
that diameter solid.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, drive it down to the limits, So it come down. And there was a limit switch sticking up on the gearbox like that. Big high bolt it was, that they used to lift it in with. So anyway, it come down, come near this big high bolt, come down, didn't stop, came down, because I told them to switch it off.
Yeah.
I said, it's nearly on the limit, switch it off. But it still kept coming down, and the eye bolt was a bit thicker than my thumb.
Yeah.
And it went down on this eye bolt, and came to a stop then. So anyway, panic.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go up.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go down. It wouldn't go anyway. So, what am I going to do? What am I going to do here? So I went in and reported it in the morning to the head foreman millwright, Billy Wilson. The shop was just outside the wet shop. And he said, oh, it's all right, lad, we'll sort that. And he come out, he said, what have you done? I said, well, it wouldn't stop. And I had to get the head foreman down there. Everybody come down. Oh, what are we going to do? Anyway, it ended up, they couldn't get it up again. It wouldn't go up. So anyway, it was on like a big screw.
Yeah.
And it was about that diameter, like a flat. So they had to make a big spanner like that. A great big spanner. It was about that thick.
Yeah.
It was only a short one. You had to get 2 100-ton jacks on to jack it back up again. So
But you were popular that day.
Well, it wasn't my fault,
No,
because the limits wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But they found out what it was. It was a design fault on it, because the top rolls, it had a brake on it.
Yeah.
So when you knock the power off, it used to brake.
Right.
The brake, like it stopped it, but they didn't have a brake on the rolls driving down. So the big flywheel, once the impetus got on the flywheel, there was no brake, it just kept on rolling.
Right, got you.
So even though the limits had come in, it's kept on rolling.
Right.
So that's another story, but that's not when I was on holiday.
Yeah, no.
I didn't get a holiday for it. Yeah, so where else did we go? God, it's a lot. I can't remember, but we had a few holidays. We used to. I borrowed a. I'm still talking about. We used to go up to Bell's Hill.
Yeah.
I had a Standard Vanguard Finale or something like that, the big Standard Vanguard. And then I sold that, and we didn't have a car. That's when we didn't have a car.
Right.
So, no, we did. We had a little Renault R8 1100. That was like a Renault Dauphine with the engine at the back.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So one of the blokes that I worked with lived in French Street.
Yeah.
And his sister had bought a brand new Anglia. I think they were about £400 then. And she wanted to go up to Scotland. So she said, well, take my car and we'll give it a good run. So we all piled in this car up to Bell's Hill, and I had it for the weekend, however long
Yeah.
we were up there, and she went to visit a friend. But when we got to her friend's, I backed up in it and hit a lamppost with it brand spanking new,
no.
and didn't hit the front wing.
Oh.
And I thought, oh no, because we used to rent the garage off them in Fred Street. Anyway, I banged it with my fist and it bounced out again. It just bounced out. I did it on this Merc.
Yeah. Oh.
I backed into something on the Merc.
And like that.
And it got a dent in it. Now, there'll be a short intermission. Come in here, you. Get up to bed. Go on. Get up. Don't come down. Right, I hope you all had a drink and an ice cream while I was away. Yeah, I did the new car on it once.
Yeah.
I just hit it because it wasn't it was just like a
just a little
push in,
depression.
it did, it just bounced out again.
Yeah.
Kept hammering it. So that was the episode up there.
Yeah. So you went on a lot of holidays. What was it like having 3 kids so close together? 3 kids.
Can't remember.
No.
Well, there was like 6 years between them, wasn't there?
Yeah.
6 years. It was all right, I suppose.
What were they like as kids? What was each one like as a kid?
Don't ask me.
They're going to watch this, you know.
I know. Bloody nuisances, all 3 of them. Andrew can't answer now. Kate and your mother can answer. They were all right, I suppose. You know. Your mum was all right, I think, because she used to help to look after the others.
Yeah. Sure.
And of a night, when I came home from work, 18 minutes past 5,
Yeah.
you know, we had our tea, then they had a mad. They used to go to bed at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 7 o'clock bed,
Yeah.
you 3. But after they had the tea, they used to have a mad half hour.
Yeah.
Or mad 2 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Running backwards and forwards across the living room.
Yeah.
That was before I knocked through.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there was like a parlour and a living room,
Yeah.
if you will. And I always remember them they used to run backwards and forwards, and I'd taken all the wallpaper off and emulsioned it.
Yeah.
So the wallpaper used to get, the wall used to get mucky with the hands, you know, 'cause they were into all sorts, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I couldn't afford any emulsion at the time. So I thought, what can I do? So I did it just with water to make it look good.
Yeah.
It came up great. Took all the muck off and everything. I remember making a fireplace as well.
Yeah.
Taking the old fireplace out. Took the old boiler out
Yeah.
in the house. But we're talking about holidays. I keep digressing. Where did we go when we went to Gloucester? Because that's where I served my time in the army, part
Yeah.
of it in there.
Yeah.
About 9 months, I think, or 12 months at Gloucester. So that's why we went back.
Yeah.
I said I want to go back, but it all altered, and I've been back, went back years after, and well, it would be 1999.
Right.
I went back again,
50 odd,
and it was
40 odd years.
yeah, and it was all different.
Yeah.
You know, it altered completely. Yes, so Scarborough, we went to Scarborough when we were at Filey, the holiday camp. Should be a picture somewhere of the kids sitting on the cannon at Scarborough, and there's your nana's got one in there, or your mum's got it, in the canteen, because we went with your other nana.
Right.
And Huey, you know, my stepdad.
Yeah.
We all went together, and I don't know whether I mentioned I borrowed a big Ford Zephyr, I think it was, my mate, station wagon,
Yeah.
and we all piled in that because it could all go in it, you see,
Yeah.
a big one, and he had my car. So we went there. Where else? Went up Scotland, we went round there. Oh, I told you we used to go to Keswick, just outside Keswick.
Right.
Forget the name now. Probably mentioned it previously. So that was the holiday times, good, bad, and indifferent. Used to go out. I told you I did a lot of overtime, and I did a lot of house wiring and things like that around Ulverston. And I used to, in my spare time, I used to go around digging tips, digging bottles up in tips. I think your nana's got one there, an old bottle.
Yeah.
The old lemonade bottles.
Right.
There's one outside now. They were glass bottles.
Yeah.
And the neck was squashed in.
Yeah.
And then there was a marble in the top.
Right.
And a rubber seal.
Yeah.
So they pushed the pop in, because it was aerated, wasn't it? Lemonade. And the gas inside pushed the marble up.
All right.
And there was a rubber washer in.
Yeah.
And it sealed itself against the rubber washer.
And how did you open it?
All you did, you had like a prodder, like a bottle top.
Right.
They were all glass, these.
Yeah.
You just pushed it down.
All right.
And then when you pushed it down, the gas come out.
Yeah,
and you
okay.
could drink it.
All right.
But there was different shapes.
Yeah.
So I used to go around digging tips to see what I could find. Me and Andrew used to go out on the motorbikes sometimes of a night, when I wasn't working, and go all over. Down Walney, I found the tip for North Scale for Bankfield, the pub that was right down by the shore.
Right.
What's it called now? Anyway, there was a pub down there, right down on the shore.
Right.
And I found the tip for that from when it was a pub in the middle of a big field. Because in the old days, they had no dustbin men come round.
Right.
I'm talking about the 1800s.
Yeah.
So they used to have a village tip.
Right.
And generally what they were holes in the ground, or sinkages,
Yeah.
that had sunk down. They used to throw all the old rubbish in.
Right.
And then as it filled up,
Yeah.
it was soiled over.
Yeah.
So I used to go and
All right. Yeah.
research and find them. So I found that tip. Used to go down Walney, down by the salt mines.
Yeah.
Because there was salt mines down there.
Right.
And there was part of the railway there. I think it was the refinery by the New Inn on Walney.
Where's that?
Well, it's gone now. It's a house. It was, where the pub is down Bigger Village.
Yeah. Queens. Yeah.
Yeah, the Queens.
Yeah.
Well, it was a little bit further along and round the back.
Right.
You had to go up some steps to it
Right.
on the outside because it's like the old farmhouse.
Right.
But somebody's turned it into a house.
Yeah.
So we were down there. Used to be tips on Walney.
Yeah.
Down the south end, there was a tip down there. There was one on West Shore.
Right.
There was one up Ormsgill. They were all over anyway. When they became modernised.
Yeah.
They made their own tips.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff went in, and then it was put soil on the top.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Yeah.
It's the one where we were building the driving range up Ormsgill. All the stuff that went in, and they used to produce methane gas. So that one up there, we had to put big pipes in to vent the gas. We were up there one day with Stan Muldrew. They were all in pipes, and he said, there's gas coming out of there.
Yeah.
I said, I know there is. He said, but you can't see it. I said, well, let's light it. So we threw a match on him. And he was dancing around and shouting, and the plastic pipe, the big plastic pipe, started melting. He said, how are we going to put it out? I said, it's dead easy. I said, all you've got to do, give me one of those plates or whatever it was, put it on the top and put sand around it.
Yeah.
And it's got no oxygen then, it
Yeah.
won't burn. But the flame, you couldn't see it because it was clear. You know,
Right,
methane,
yeah, yeah.
it was dead
Yeah.
clear. So that's another story. Oh, I know what I meant to tell you. You know, I was telling you about that stuff for Flyland.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was on Facebook tonight.
Oh, was it?
Somebody was talking about it, how they used to make it,
Yeah.
and what it used to be like.
We'll have to get some. We'll recreate it. No.
Yeah. Well, they were telling how to mix it, but they were talking about mixing it with water, but I can't remember mixing it with water.
Mm.
But anyway, it was the basic thing, iodine and ammonia.
Yeah.
And about how it was all right when it was wet.
Yeah.
When it got
It's
dry, you know, because they were showing you putting a fly on you.
Bloody hell.
So anyway, right. So where do we go from there? So we were.
So you had lots of holidays. What else? What other memories do you have of the kids growing up? I guess.
Remember, your mum, I think it was your mum, going to have an appendix out.
Yeah.
She had to have her appendix out because High Carly, you know where that is?
Hi, Carly. Yeah.
It's a house in the city now.
Swarthmere and whatever.
Yeah. She went in there to have her appendix out.
Mm.
Well, when I was a kid, I had my appendix out.
Yeah.
And I was in North Lonsdale for a week or a fortnight.
Mm.
Then I went into Infield Nursing Home. That's gone now.
Yeah.
That was for Vickers employees, you know, because my mother used to be. And I spent a month in there, so that was like 6 weeks. So your mother went in and for it, and went up the next day. She wasn't in bed. Where is she? Oh, she'd been jumping up and down along the beds. So she hadn't been in bed. She'd been operated on, and she was jumping about. So that was her. I can't remember. Kate, Andrew, can't remember what. I only remember he took ill, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he was ill.
What was that like?
Well, he just started the grammar school actually, and he said, "I don't feel well, Dad. You know, I'm not right." So we took him to the doctors, and he had a bit of a temperature. Anyway, he had a sore throat, and he didn't seem to be getting any better. So I think he had a fever. So we called the doctor of a weekend, because the doctors used to come out then.
Yeah.
And it was, who was it that came? I don't know whether it was Dr. Crosby or one of them came. And he said, "Oh, I think he's got a fever." Anyway, the next day, the Irish doctor came round, and he said, "Right, we better give him some medicine." So they gave him some medicine, and then I was at work, and I got a phone call on the Monday, I think it was, "You better get yourself home." So I came home, and your nana said, "Dr. Todd's here, he wants to talk to you."
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, right." He said he's got leukemia, and he's got to go to Manchester Hospital right away, to the Children's Hospital at Pendlebury. So we just jumped in the ambulance and we went straight to Pendlebury, and your nana came home in the ambulance, and I stopped the night.
Yeah.
They made a bed for me, and I stopped the night with him. And then somebody came down for me on the Monday, you know, because he said he's going to have to stop in and have treatment. So it wasn't nice, because they had injections and, you know, this, that and the other, and it used to knock him all to hell. And I used to have to take him down. I used to go, forget how many times, but I used to take him down on a Wednesday. Once a month, I think he had to go. Take him down on a Wednesday, because I used to have time off work. The boss let me have time off work. He said, no, you sort him out. So I had the Ford Cortina then, I think. So I used to run him down, but he didn't like the treatment, and he used to be screaming. I had to carry him down the wards, screaming, you know. And then he got bad, didn't he? He came home at Christmas, so that was from the March till Christmas. He was in bed then, and we got him home because he was in the hospital. I can't remember which hospital he was in, and we got permission to bring him home, so we used to sleep in the front room. We had a bed for him, and then he had to go back, and then he ended up in Devonshire Road, and he was in a room on his own, and the Williams that I mentioned from Newby Bridge, they used to come through, and we got permission for the dog to come in, because he was in a ward on his own, you know, a big ward there, and he wouldn't take his medicine. He was downstairs, and then they moved him upstairs on his own. They said, you've got to have your... He said, I don't want it. And he wouldn't have his medicine. So that was it. Said, I don't want it, Dad. Don't want it at all. So that was 12 and a half, 13 years old. He didn't want any more. Couldn't stand it, he said. So that was it. So that was poor old Andrew. But I had to come home then and tell the kids were stopping with your great-grandma they were stopping in King Alfred Street. So I had to tell them Kate was the one that broke down. I don't think your mum did. Your mum did, but not the same as Kate, you know. So that was that. And she was always the favourite, your nana will tell you. She was the daddy's girl.
What? My mum was?
No, Kate was always, little girl. So...
Oh, it's really sad. I've never heard you talk about them, you know,
No.
I know everyone.
So that was a bit of the history. Then I was at work then, because we got up to... Did we get up at work? But there's memories keep coming back about early days, like the YMCA. You know, I used to go up the YMCA. I think I told you where the health studio is, on Greengate Street. And I got sent on on a youth course once to Keswick for the weekend to learn how to be a Christian, but it didn't seem to work.
You're too busy setting stuff on fire.
So I went on that.
What about Kate as a kid? Like, you talked a bit about Mum and obviously about Andrew. What was Kate like as a kid?
You know, I can't really remember, because I can remember more about Andrew, because I used to take him all to town on a Saturday morning. And ice creams and things like that. I always remember I used to buy Andrew toys, you know, toy cars and all that. The Matchbox toys that fetch about 30 or 40 quid. I think they were about a bob, 5 pence or something then. No, because Kate was a girl, wasn't she? And you know, you don't really identify with girls. Or I don't identify with
You didn't
girls.
take Kate to the tip digging stuff up.
Yeah, well, it's a man's thing, isn't it? A boy's thing.
Yeah.
You know, so, and riding motorbikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. And they used to play in the vicarage. The vicarage was the vicarage then.
Yeah.
There was no flats there.
Mum was saying this before. So what was that? What was that like? Yeah, she was saying it
was
used to be an orchard or something.
No, it was an old house.
Yeah.
The old vicarage. Lord Dunluce used to live in it.
Right.
At one stage, because I had some Vickerstown newses going way back to where 19 somewhat before they built the Walney Bridge.
Yeah.
It was a paper that they sold to get some money towards protesting about a bridge. The Vickerstown News, it was a newspaper. Just if I remember, it was just 2 sheets.
Right.
Of like the Evening Mail,
Yeah.
and it had all sorts in, and they're on about Dunluce, Lord Dunluce, that had the spell L-U-C.
All right.
Lord Dunluce that had it. So it was just an old house, and the kids used to go in there and play in it, and nobody used to bother them.
All right.
I remember Andrew took his teddy out and lost it in there one day.
Yeah.
And because it was just out the backyard door, out there. I remember him smashing a window in number 1 Knox Street, Eric Milburn. It was a plumber in the yard. That's the big house on the corner.
Right.
Opposite, you go out the back door, and the house was
Yeah, on the corner.
That's number 1.
Right.
Number 1 Knox Street. Then one of the lassies that worked for the council bought it. I forget what she was called now, but anyway, that's another story. But they used to go out and play in there, out in the back street and all that, with the woods next door. Tracy Woods, I think she was called, and I think that was your mum's mate or Kate's mate, the Woods. And then there was and Jimmy Glasgow. Remember Jimmy Glasgow? His parents lived across the road from us, and I told you the story about him. His dad getting gold watches for the lads, didn't he?
Aye.
Yeah, so let's go back to work now.
All right, okay, yeah. So you've done.
Well, I've done a bit about that, but I say things keep coming in my mind when I'm not thinking about them.
So I think you left it. So yeah, we went back to do sort of like the kids and everything. And you left work at 1980-ish, I think was where we got to.
We finished work 1980.
I think so.
That's when I took over the work study department and the piecework, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When I took that over. And then, I was assistant manager.
Yeah.
They made me assistant because I was working under Phil Rance, who had just come back from Oceanics. He was the managing director for Oceanics.
Right.
I think he was managing director, but it was something to do with it.
Yeah.
Because they were just starting Oceanics, or they just started it then. And he came, and I used to work for him. I was working under him, and did I work for him? Yeah, I worked for him, and then Gordon Howell took me over, the shipyard manager, after that. But I used to do the bonus scheme.
Yeah.
The bonus scheme was out then.
Right.
for productivity.
Yeah.
So I used to sit on that committee with them, and I remember one time they had no secretary, so they made me take the minutes. And said, well, you'll have to take the minutes because Phil Rance wasn't there, and so that was me with him. And then he went back about 3 times. That's wrong. That's corrected it. And then they gave me the job of, I had to write the justification for the microfilm unit down Falbirth.
Yeah.
When they started the microfilm units. So that was one of the things that I was doing. Besides running the work study,
Yeah.
that was just one that was thrown at me.
Yeah.
You know, like you get jobs thrown at you.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And you've got to do that. So that was the justification for that. And then we got a personnel director, Dennis Hardy,
Mm.
and he did the personnel, and I'd taken over the car parking, looking after the car park, but I don't know how I took it over because the department used to run it.
Mm.
The work studies ran it, but we didn't do the passes. Then we brought the passes in. You had to have a pass to go in. It was just a matter of, letting cars in. So that's when the passes started.
Right.
In the 80s. 80. You had to have a pass in your car.
Yeah.
Because they got rid of some of the berths. Well, they were getting rid of the berths.
Mm.
So we had them on the berths. I put all the photographs of where the cars used to park. They're in the Dock Museum now,
Right.
but they've got to be vetted by vicars before they can be let loose.
Yeah.
Because it's the inside of the yard.
Yeah.
So they've got all them. So they're getting vetted. Then they got rid of the berths, and one of the lads designed how to park the cars with the old staging planks, because the berths were being done away with.
Right.
Because it started doing away with them for big things. They were launching subs on the berths. Instead of down the sub berths, down by the pipe production shop, they moved over to the big berths.
Right.
To launch them down there. So the old staging planks, you know what those are, don't you? When they put the staging up the boats,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
they put planks for your walk on.
Yeah.
But in the old days, they were great big heavy ones. Now they're about that thick.
Yeah.
They were that thick
Right.
in the old days, and the stages used to have to yoke them up, and it was tubeless staging on the sides of the boat.
Yeah.
In the old days, they were just big uprights.
Right.
Big steel uprights like that with lattice work in, and they used to put the planks across them. You had to crawl up them on the outside. So one of the lads, because they were doing away with the railway, had the railway lines taken up outside the shipyard, along outside the shipyard, the top yard, where all the cars
Well, they're still there then, yeah.
The railway lines.
It went all the way down to Anchor Road, Island Road.
They went all the way down Island Road to the station.
Yeah.
The station on Island Road.
Yeah.
They came right across Michelson Road.
Yeah.
And right up, right in front of the yard.
Yeah.
And right along, and right round, and right round the other side of the dock.
Right.
The low road.
Yeah.
That's where they used to move the entrance to the dock used to be there.
Right.
Before all the docks were built.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Devonshire Dock.
Yeah.
And it was a big case that had the railway lines on.
Yeah.
And when they wanted to bring something into the dock,
Yeah.
they used to move the casing.
All right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
no cars could get round.
Yeah.
So the railway lines went as well. But they went all the way around, right round
All right, so you could transport stuff around the yard.
Yeah.
So, right. So could people go on the train?
No,
No, it was purely for the yard.
Yeah.
Right.
You could bum a lift if you wanted, you know, on the side if the engine driver didn't see you. But no, in the yard there was a complete system of railways.
Yeah. I've seen the tracks and that. I just never really
knew
what they were used for. Or
that's what they were for.
Yeah.
And halfway down, not halfway down, opposite the Jubilee Bridge, on Ferry Road, just from the corner there, used to be the transit shed where big parcels used to come and go in there, and then they used to go round into the yard. What's the road called? Stanley Road.
Stanley Road.
There was a gate there in the Stanley Road, and they used to go along the dockside, all the way along the dockside to the coal wharf right at the far end. And that used to carry on to the swing bridge, where the trains used to come across the swing bridge, go to the station, and carry on into the yard.
Right.
So right across there and right round, then back again.
Right.
Because the train station used to be St George's Square, Palace train station, opposite St George's Church, where the club was, the squash club.
Yeah, okay. On the Strand, near the Strand.
Oh, by St George's Church, at the other end.
Yeah, but at the end of Church Street.
Yes,
virtually
across the road from the church. Used to be the main train station for Barra, and then they extended it round.
Right.
So that used to go right round there, right along the side where Morrison's is. Under the high level bridge, right round.
Right.
Because when the cars got too much in the yard, the yard was full of cars. I think I told you, we kept taking more and more space, the space that wasn't being used by the boats. So that was taken over with car parking. So there was hundreds of cars in the yard, and as buildings got knocked down, we made more space because no space on Barrow Island. There was more and more cars. So anyway,
what was that like? Knocking down all the like the foundry and everything went, didn't it? All the
well, I sold the smithy to India. And that's another story about that. That's virtually what finished me selling that when I was that was another when I got the other job.
The asset management.
So talking about the car parking, Dennis Hardy retired, or he died or something. We got a new personnel director, Fred Mather, and I always remember he phoned up and he said, I'm in charge of the car park and you're working for me now. So I said, oh, all right then. So that was me working for this Fred Mather, that was the personnel director. So I said, oh, all right. So he rang up because the personnel, remember the training schools?
Yeah, like vaguely.
Both sides of the bridge. The engineering side was town side. The shipbuilding side was the end of the shipbuilding works, the West Shop. When you went over the bridge. There was a big, long, low building behind. It used to be the research and development, I think, in the old days. And the personnel was in there. They moved in there. Well, to get to it, you had to go. British Oxygen Works was on the corner where they used to produce the oxygen. And between that and the training school, there was a roadway. to go around the back.
Yeah.
Just go around the back of the training school to get to the personnel department. He phoned me up one day and he said, I want you to do something about these cars speeding round the back of the training school. They're coming round and they're speeding. They need something doing, because we just brought speed bumps in then.
Yeah.
So he said, can you get a speed bump or something? So I said, right, I'll do that. So I phoned the works engineers.
Yeah.
Fred Wales, he was the works engineer that looked after that side. And I said, Fred, I said, I want a tarmac speed bump put in, because we used to make them out of tarmac like they do now. He said, right. So I said, I want a speed bump. Oh, he said, we've just got 2 tons of tarmac ordered, because we're going to fill in the turntable outside the pipe production shop, because a big turntable there where they used to bring subunits out and turn them round to go down the berths.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I used to look after the transporters down there. Anyway, he said, we'll put some round at the back there. So I said, right, he said, we'll do it the weekend, because it's a weekend job, this. So I said, great. Monday morning, because I used to go in at 7:30.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go in earlier sometimes to make sure everything's all right. 7:30, 9 o'clock, the phone rang. I said, what's the matter? It was Fred Mather. He said, who put this speed bump in here? I said, well, you asked for one, didn't you? He said, yeah. He said, there's a mini stuck on the top of it. I said, what do you mean there's a mini stuck on the top of it? He said, it's too high. So I said, well, it can't be. So I phoned the works engineer up, and he said, oh, well, they used all the time. God, it didn't. So it must have been. Oh, I always remember that. Fred Mother. Because we used to liaison with the works guards.
Right.
You know, because the works guards let people in.
Yeah.
We used to control all the passes. My department or our department used to control the works passes.
Yeah.
Because we had problems, because the passes were on coloured paper.
Yeah.
And you used to have your registration number on. Well, in the summer, the paper used to fade and the writing used to go off. So we had a hell's own job to get it. We ended up with the tape, you know, that you punched, the plastic tape. Have you not seen the machines? Make different coloured tapes.
Right.
So we ended up with that, and then we had to get special paper.
Yeah.
And then it ended up with the typist. She has to type all the numbers onto the passes. Yeah. So they're all different coloured for different gates parts, with different numbers on.
Yeah.
Because we numbered all the gates.
Yeah.
1 to 13.
Right.
So we used to have a big register like that, because we had all the registrations and all the people that had it. I had a lad work with me, and he used to know computers, because he'd just coming in then, just bringing them in the yard, and he got into it somehow, but he knew how to write the sub-programs.
Right.
So that if you put your name in, you knew your car number and where you parked.
Right.
So we had all that. So that was the car parking side of it, and then we moved down the DDH, didn't we? Got moved
when
down.
that was built, yeah. So what, late 80s.
Yeah.
I think you showed me the brochure when it opened, yeah.
Well, the brochure's there for you.
Yeah.
I've put that for you. Yeah. So there was a passage, wasn't there? And then we they brought the boat passes in
Oh, right.
to go on the boats.
Yeah,
So the security
yeah.
asked me, could they have somebody to help them to do the passes?
Yeah.
So there's a lad just started for me, Trevor Jones, who was a soccer referee.
Not that Trevor Jones, really. That
Yeah.
went on to be a copper.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He worked for you, right?
Yeah, he was an electrician.
Oh, right. Oh, I
And,
didn't know that.
One of the electricians retired,
Yeah.
and Trevor came to work for me,
Right.
and he wrote a book about para soccer.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, no, I know of him definitely.
Yeah.
I think he might have arrested my mate.
Because he sent me the transcript, the first transcript
Yeah.
of the book he wrote with Darren somebody or other about para soccer.
Yeah, the other referee. God, I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I've got the first. It's in my rubbish somewhere.
Right.
The
Nice
first to proofread it
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
So I've still got that somewhere.
That's spot on.
I still talk to him now and again.
Yeah.
He always calls Mr. Gone. Even when I see him out, even when I was a policeman, he was Mr. Gone. He always spoke to me like that when I was when I was on the job.
Yeah.
So he went there, you know.
Yeah.
He was sort of seconded. I paid his wages, but he worked for the security doing the passes.
Yeah.
Because what he said when he come to work for me, he'd fancied to be a policeman.
Right.
So I said, there's a job for you, go and work for Jim Doyle, who was the chief of security at the time.
Right.
And Jack Davidson, that was his deputy. I said, go and work for them doing the passes. It might do you some good.
Yeah.
So it did
in
the end.
Yeah.
So that's how he came to get the job, I think,
Right.
through me sending me Jim
security.
Doyle and Jim putting a word in, because he was chief constable, I think, at one time.
Right.
Jim Doyle.
Yeah, he's the copper at the para soccer.
Yeah.
He did all the games and that.
Yeah, Trevor.
Right. Well, nice one.
So, Trevor, so there was the car parking.
We're just about to come up to an hour.
Are
See
we?
what a pull stumps there at what year were we up to?
Oh, I don't know. It's just it was 82. I don't know.
88, 87.
But when I finished 1990, when I got made redundant, because we were doing the redundancies, and that's when I got the new job as asset disposal manager for the yard. But from 80 to 1990, I'd done loads of, because I was I did the suggestion scheme, I told you that.
Yeah.
I did the pensions, because pension scheme was finished, and I had to organise the pension people to go around all the different parts of the company, you know, Scotland, Ireland, Wales.
Yeah.
Had to arrange accommodation for them to go around. So that was another job that they threw at me. I did for John Barker, I did the Walney Airfield to try and commercialise that with all the little units.
Yeah.
But that went nowhere. I went on the Shipyard and Allied Managers Association. I went on the national executive of that, and then that packed up and it went to EMA, and then that was taken over by the British Airline Pilots Association. That packed up, because we used to go through to Manchester every month to a meeting every month, the national executive of that. Then I did all sorts. But anyway, we'll talk about all my disqualifications or qualifications another time.
Yeah, we'll pick up on that next week.